So I'm trying to wait till the little signal comes up that says this is recording. Hello, I'm Sandy Walden from Serenity, your Master Grief Coach and Master Grief Coach Trainer. Fear. What has been true for you? For most, when we have lost someone, fear becomes outsized. For instance, especially if and it's not always with an unexpected death either, is it? It can be maybe the one we love died of a disease, and we notice ourselves having more awareness of symptoms in ourselves or someone else. And it's not just an awareness, it can be heightened stress and overwhelm, anxiety that comes along with it. When we lose someone, whether it's been long term or it's short, and our fear is heightened, I want you to know that's natural and normal. Please don't judge yourself. Please don't make yourself wrong for this. Just think about, okay, this is a natural, normal response. Here's what happens. Something that was unthinkable has now happened. It's become your reality. Even if this was a long-term illness, the death has happened. And we can be very, very afraid that it will happen to us or someone else that we care about. Now, when my son died, it was very unexpected. Mike died of suicide. There were no signs ahead of time, no warnings. Even at this point, at the time of this recording, it's more than 10 and a half years later, and I still don't see any signs when I look back. So fear can come up for many of us, and it can surround the people we love and ourselves. So this is the way I like to think about fear, because fear can be our friend. Fear is a natural, normal emotion. It's not wrong. It shows up to get our attention. I always tell people fear is not a bad thing when it's kept in proportion. It keeps us from putting our hand in a cage of rattlesnakes because fear of what's going to happen to us. Let's think about what this is. When I work with clients, I ask them to imagine themselves in a room, maybe like the room I'm in. Make the decor room that you prefer. And if you're of a certain age, you might remember Rudolph. Do you remember the animated show? There was an abominable snowman. And that's always what I visualize. Big and scary. Maybe I'll see if I can find a link to that picture below. So I imagine something like that abominable snowman. Use your imagination to fill in what's right for you. I like to sort of personify it, give it arms and legs and a head. Maybe wild, scary hair, awful breath, big teeth. Have it showing up at the door. Have it showing up at the door. But it ramps at the door. We have the option of seeing that fear for what it is, and it can scare the bejabbers out of us. But fear is bringing a message. So something I'd like you to consider is receiving that message. If we open that door and we ask fear, why are you here? What message are you delivering to me? Do you feel how we're taking back a little bit of control? Because now we're having a conversation. Hear the message that fear is giving you. For me, in early days, that fear was saying, well, guess what? I'm here to tell you about your husband, about your surviving sons, about your daughter-in-law, about everybody you hold near and dear. But I had the opportunity to talk to fear, and so do you. And I could say, is that true? Do I know that's true? All the things you're threatening me with, you're scaring me with, are they actual? And guess what? When I'd have the conversation with fear, when my clients do this, fear starts coming down to a more reasonable size. The voice isn't so scary. The teeth, not so sharp. What is the message fear is bringing to us? Do we know the message is true? Now, if fear is telling me that I should be afraid for all of these other people I love, and if I feel like that is true, I can ask more. What's in my control to change? Is it beneficial for me to hold on to and feed this fear? Or can I say, thank you for delivering the message. You can go now. And visualize yourself escorting that abominable, or whatever you visualize fear as, to the door, closing the door. The message has been received. Does this make sense to you? The message has been received, and now it's up to us what we do with that message. So, using myself as that example, I would go back. Okay, this fear I have is intense, and it was intense for me in the beginning. Am I powerless? Do I have the information I need? What can I do to feel a little better about this? It was often a phone call or a text or just sitting with them and checking in. What is the message this is bringing? Remember, like all emotions, fear is going to last about 90 seconds and then begin to dissipate unless we feed it. Remembering that we have the power to reinforce, to feed that fear, means that we also have the power to let it begin to dissipate, to let it start fading away. When we give fear a visual size, shape, I like to even give it a temperature and an odor. Oh my gosh, for me it's usually pretty bad. When we can use all of our senses to imagine what fear looks, sounds, smells like. Is there heat coming from it? Is it ice cold? Is it something different? When we can do that, we can make it bigger. We can make it stronger. We can make it scarier. That's usually the default position. That's okay. Let go of the judgment. Just understand that's okay. Because here is the very best news of all. If we can make fear bigger, scarier, louder, hotter, we can also turn it down. It's not a one-way switch. What we can expand, we can also contract. We can turn the noise down on the voice of fear. We can trim that beard, file those claws. Imagine fear shrinking. Even talking about it, I feel some peace because I'm reminded that I am not helpless and neither are you. Fear It's not our enemy. It's a natural, normal response to being in the position we are, to grief, to loss. Think about somebody who's predominantly on here, people here have lost someone to death. But that's not always alone. There's also often financial reverses, career changes, maybe a job loss, perhaps change of home or homelessness. These are fears too, aren't they? We get to address those, and we can take them one at a time, make them smaller, make them more manageable. You have this ability. Fear is not our enemy. It's simply a feeling, an emotion. All emotions are indicators. They come with a message. What do we need to feel? What do we need to understand? You can do this. I'm Sandy Walden from Serenity, your Master Grief Coach and Master Grief Coach Trainer. If you'd like to know more about working with me, send me a message. I can be reached at serenity@sandywalden.com. For today, I want to wish you a day of remembering that you have more power than you imagine. It's okay to find out what message fear is bringing to you and then send it on its way. You can do this. Namaste.